The prophecy of Elder Jonah of Odessa back from 2007 does not include Putin in the frame today with so many problems that the Russian has. So this was from a saintly abbot, prophecy of Elder Jonah of Odessa. It does not include Putin. With so many problems that the Russian has, present, I remember that he was pointed out from 2018. Today, Zakharova, the representative of Russia, said, the USA with HIMARS wants to drown Ukraine in blood. In 2007, Elder Jonah of Odessa said, those that will come to our country, they will not stay long, but they will do great harm and shed so much blood, but they will leave with their heads in shame. This is written by Dr. Konstantin Vardakas about what happened or is happening today or is going to happen in Ukraine is what the Elder Abbot Jonah prophesied of back in 2007. We may be covered by CNN, Pravda, Sputnik, but the news about Ukraine was given to us by the great Elder Jonah from Odessa back in 2007. The Elder Jonah had his dormition, in other words, he passed away in the year 2012. But in 2007, this is what he said. Those that will come to our country, they will not stay long, but they will do great harm and shed so much blood, but they will go away in shame with their heads down. Regarding the war in Ukraine, he predicted that this will be a spiritual war, and its primary purpose is to destroy Ukraine by alienating it from Christian orthodoxy, he said. Referring to the dollar, he said, the wind will blow the dollars along the road like autumn leaves, and no one will chase them. They will be like pieces of cheap paper. And he said, if the Lord should give the Russians an Orthodox Tsar, then we must repent and pray very hard, and then only through the Tsar coming from Russia could find salvation. The Tsar coming from God, will Russia find salvation? Who is this Tsar? I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. But who is this Tsar supposed to be? Now, also the Elder Jonah said, unrest in a country smaller than Russia will come a year after my death. As we said, he died in 2012. Unrest in a country smaller than Russia, he didn't name the country here, that would be 2013. The troubles will continue for 2 years, after which a Russian Tsar will appear. The first Easter will be full of blood, the second will be of hunger, the third will be of victory. Well, we didn't see anything like that happen, did we? In other words, 3 years after it would be 2016. And the source was from Sign of the Times, of a Greek article, from the Ukrainian land. So this elder was from Ukraine. So the elder said, everything that's going to happen in our days. It specifies that a Tsar will rise in Russia, hence someone who will wear a military uniform and of course not a political elite. That's what he means. Now, in the Elder Jonah in 2007 said, and he said that if the Lord should give the Russians an Orthodox Tsar, then we must repent and pray very hard. And then only through this Tsar coming from God, Russia will find salvation. Putin then had a government position. So who was this charismatic elder talking about, who actually predicted the shocking events that are happening in Ukraine now? So let's see if his words in more detail, according to the source. As a consolation, but also as a warning, we have the prophecies of the Elder Jonah of Odessa, who passed away in 2012. He said, those that will come to our country will not stay long, but they will do great harm, shed much blood. They will go away in shame with their heads down. And regarding the war in Ukraine, he predicted that this will be a spiritual war, primary purpose to destroy Ukraine by taking it away from Holy Russia and to destroy Orthodoxy itself. So in other words, this elder who prophesied this, obviously, I guess he wanted Ukraine union with Russia. Now, he said, concerning the dollar, he said the wind will blow the dollars along the road like autumn leaves, and no one will chase them. They will be like pieces of cheap paper. The most shocking of his words are following according to the source. The elder Jonah also said, unrest in a country smaller than Russia will come a year after my death. Problems will continue for 2 years. The first Easter full of blood, second of hunger, and the third be a victory. Now the Russian who will take the city is already chosen from above and is a military man, not a politician, he claims. And the following year after his death, specifically on November 30th, 2013, riots and clashes began in Maidan Square in Kiev of Ukraine, which resulted in the overthrow of the then president of Ukraine. In the next 2 years, 2014-15, the Ukrainian drama is transferred to the horrific massacre of Odessa and the Eastern Front, with many innocent victims and orphans of the war. And it remains in our days to see if the rest is also verified. That's as far as mentioning what the elder Jonah prophesied. A few months ago, from a spiritual brother who offered and offers a lot to the Mount Tauthus monasteries, also to the ecumenical Hellenism everywhere, received the following information for evaluation. And this information converges with the words of the elder Jonah of Ukraine. And we mentioned in a summary, we believe that the above brother also, as soon as the events begin, probably are beginning, to give the faithful people all the details of his testimony he received from the holy saint for the glory of the holy triune God. Quote, this is what he said, quote, through shocking rearrangements that are about to happen in Turkish-Russian relations, the Russian admiral will suddenly occupy the European Istanbul of Turkey. No one will expect it to happen like this. The terrified Turks will be transported from the wide bridges of the Bosporus to the eastern side of Asia, and their retreat will begin. The Russian admiral will be considered a hero. The Westerners will be surprised and demand that he hand over the city to a peaceful international force. Let's remember that Russia and Turkey are allies, and Turkey now has, because he has Russian backing, has now turned its attention to taking away Aegean Greek islands, and as we know, and he's also against Cyprus. We know, if you look a couple of 3 videos back, Greece and Cyprus are European member states, and he's threatening European member states, which means that he's threatening the whole of the European Union. And instead of the European Union sanctioning Erdogan and Turkey, they're just sitting doing nothing, as if they've zipped up their lips and they're just ignoring everything. I guess it's like the ostrich, like hide your head in the sand and just forget everything all around you. So they're not doing anything. Now going back to the prophecy. The Westerners will be surprised and demand that he hand over the city to a peaceful international force. The Russian admiral will stubbornly refuse. A great storm with a tempest will cause incalculable damage to the Russian fleet sailing in the Bosporus, and the Russians will take this storm as a sulfurous sign that they will have to hand over the city to Greece. But they will not, and will continue to hold the city. The Westerners will gather troops to take the city from the Russians and start and control the Straits of the Bosporus. That's the passage into the very narrow, tight passage into the Black Sea from the Aegean Sea of the Mediterranean. We all know the sequel to the massacre that's going to take place there, based on many prophecies from the Holy Fathers of Christian Orthodoxy, and to whom will Constantinople, Istanbul be legally and spiritually attributed. Now, if the above is chatter, then how can all these pranks that we are experiencing these critical days that we are going through be justified. But we file them to see that where we are and where we're going and how we're going, as if Holy God took a screwdriver and loosened the bolts of the Earth's rotation to make events run much faster than expected. In the end, the truth of the Lord remains in the ages, and it applies majestically. Do not trust in princes or sons of men, for there is no salvation, according to God's words in the Psalms. And this was from Dr. Konstantin Varthakas. I've translated this for you from a Greek article. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.